Hello and welcome to the Collapse Experiment. You can find all the articles I will be covering at the collapseexperiment.com. Also, there's the Substack with the same name, and this show is available in podcast format. So, to get to it, to not waste any of your time or mine, can a woke military win wars? No. Well, that was quick. Anyways, there is an article by the Epoch Times. For a couple years now, the U.S. military has had a serious recruitment problem. Yeah, you don't want people in your ranks who actually shoot guns. You'd rather have high heels and I don't know what it is exactly they're looking for, but apparently it's not a military. I don't know. And they really haven't explained themselves. Instead, we have Millie over there reading what was it? White I can't remember the name of that White Fragility. Yes, that was the stupid book that Mark Milley was reading to help him become a better something. I don't know. But for some reason, he was reading that book and defending it. To get back to the article, that isn't really a surprise. Our leaders have injected the entire menu of radical woke ideology into the tissues of the military establishment. Yeah, I don't know. Equality with nukes, equity. The Russians don't have enough black people. I don't know. I don't know how this works. General Mark Milley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, worries about white rage. Of course, this is what I was just talking about. Yes, he's very concerned about white rage. He's not going to use white rage against the brown people that we usually start wars with. No, he's concerned about white rage and supports teaching critical race theory to the troops. Uh-huh. Yeah, this really explains Afghanistan and what is currently happening in Sudan. When Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin took office under President Joe Biden, he issued a 60-day stand-down order to the entire military to pursue a battling extremism and achieving equity in the military. And apparently there's a PDF where you can read the actual order, because that sounds amazing. In March 2022, the Biden administration announced a new policy under which people suffering from gender dysphoria would not only be allowed to serve in the military, but also would have their gender reassignment surgery paid for by taxpayers. 'Cause that's what I want. I want to fight beside a guy that decides that not only is he gonna try to shoot the enemy, but he also wants to cut his dick off. Yep. I guess as long as he's shooting straight, as opposed to, I don't know, whatever else this is not okay. Traditionally, conservative families, especially conservative working class families, supplied a large percentage of military recruits. This is a huge FU to the middle class. This is what this is. Those families are not thrilled by the intrusion of such political correct sentiments into an institution hitherto marked by its commitment to traditional moral and martial values. Oh boy. Yeah, whatever happened to don't ask, don't tell? I don't know. That seemed to have gone to the wayside. They are interested in sending their children to be catechized what the by anti-American Marxist or apostles of sexual exotica. Ugh. The Biden administration seems blissfully aware of this reality. Why are you trying to start a war then? At least, I assume it's unaware of what two retired Army generals called a major threat to our national security. Otherwise, it would be difficult to explain Biden's recent executive order regarding environmental justice. Meanwhile, we are sending depleted uranium into Ukraine. which is not environmentally friendly. According to the White House, the new order is part of the administration's whole of government effort to confront longstanding environmental injustices and inequities. We's going to steal the farms from white people. That's what that boils down to. I'm not kidding. They're going to go South Africa at some point, and that's when you're going to start seeing people get shot. Of course, that's why they're trying to take the guns. Because when they come to take your shit, you're going to finally sit back and go, this farm's been here 120 years. What do you mean you're just taking it? Of course, we live in a time when everything is potentially racist. I'm okay with that. Like that word has no purpose, no meaning anymore. Like if they come and they try to take your farm and like, you're racist. Okay. I live in the middle of nowhere. Why would that apply to anything? Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg even argued that highway designs in the United States are racist. Because we really should give a shit about what that guy says. So, it should come as no surprise that environmental justice is really just an aspect of racial justice. What does this have to do with the army? Blah, blah, blah. And let's not forget that other big ticket item on the agenda of the left, climate change. These communities with environmental justice concerns face even greater burdens due to climate change. That thing that really hasn't done anything over the last 40 years that I've been on the planet and have heard this bullshit my entire life. The Department of Defense has even issued an environmental scorecard. Oh, yay. Grading itself on its progress towards fulfilling the green dream. Wait, the Department of Defense, the one, not even our country, but the one organization that uses more fossil fuels than anything else on the planet, the biggest polluters on the planet, the ones that use depleted uranium rounds in foreign countries. They have an environmental scorecard. That would be an F. F. That's what your score should be. There are bits about consultation and partnership with tribal nations, yada yada yada. You know, the same people that they gave diabetes to, addressing environmental justice concerns and institutionalizing our country's bedrock environmental laws. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. There was nothing about making sure that the US military was an agile, lethal fighting force well equipped with the most modern and capable weapons. Such concern seems to have been put on the back burner, but not, of course, a burner on a gas stove. This is actually pretty funny. Once upon a time, people joined the military to serve their country. Yeah, not when they're constantly saying that I'm a worthless piece of crap. Not happening. Don't even try the draft, okay? Because when you spent the last how many years calling me a worthless piece of shit, I'm not going to fight for you, okay? Faux show. Increasingly, the answer to that call is no thanks. Over the past few years, the world has entered a new and more dangerous phase. Vladimir Putin's adventures in Ukraine, are one sign of that yeastiness. What? Yeastiness? I'm not kidding. That's what is in here. Chinese leader Xi Jinping repeated announcements that he's preparing for war are another. In this Is this really the best time for the United States to hand over its military to the same sort of woke bureaucrats who brought to you that notorious Bud Light partnership with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney? They should probably use her to try to get people in the military. That's what they need to do. Take Biden's executive order about environmental justice and put it next to the attack on the U.S. energy system, his abandonment of the southern border, and his reckless economic policies that have dealt a body blow to the middle and working class. Then ask yourself this: if Joe Biden wants to hurt the United States to make it poorer, less secure, less safe, what would he do differently? Oh, that's a Dan Bongino quote right there. Representative James Comer recently noted that it is now known that at least 9 Biden family members sold access for profit around the world because Biden is a hoe for show. He asked a most pertinent question: what were our foreign adversaries paying for? I would be interested in learning the answer. So, it's a little Roger, Roger Kimball of the Epoch Times wrote this piece. And, it's not saying anything we don't already know, but I like how he sums up everything that's happening with our military and just how we have no chance in hell of like winning any type of war anytime soon. We can't even pull our people out of Sudan. So that's amazing. And let's see here. Speaking of Sudan, let's go there next. I've only got 3 articles for today, so this is going to be a short one. The WHO cites huge biological risk as Sudanese, I'm going to say Sudanese fighter sees lab containing deadly pathogens. The World Health Organization says there's a huge biological risk after Sudanese rebels of the Rapid Support Forces. That is a badass name, okay? We've had ISIS, we've had ISIS. I'm trying to think of other little groups. But this, like, they actually came up with something. Rapid Support Forces. Holy crap. Sounds like they're organized. Seized the country's National Public Health Laboratory in the capital of Khartoum on Tuesday. A U.S. brokered 72-hour truce deal appears to have already collapsed, given war correspondents widely reported hearing gunfire persist into the evening. The top-ranking WHO official in Sudan, Nima Saeed Abid, called the development extremely dangerous because we have polio isolates in the lab, we have measles isolates in the lab, and we have cholera isolates in the lab. No concern here. We should not be worried at all. Nothing like this happened in Ukraine. CNN is reporting that the RSF is now in control of the lab, citing a high-ranking medical source who told the outlet there is a huge biological risk associated with the occupation of the Central Public Health Lab in Khartoum by one of the fighting parties. The WHO additionally confirmed that training laboratory technicians no longer have access to the laboratory. This is a serious crisis given the persisting power outages across the capital area throughout the more than week of fighting, which has killed around 500 people and injured thousands more. The WHO is warning that there's a risk of spoilage and potential for leaks of deadly pathogens, given it is not possible to properly manage the biological materials that are stored in a laboratory for medical purposes. So yeah, nothing to be worried about here. We just have militant forces working to take over a country that got their hands on a bio lab. But it's not a weapons biolab. It's just a research facility. That's at least what Fauci would say. The WHO additionally confirmed that trained laboratory technicians no longer have access to the laboratory. Yeah. Yep. So, anyways, that's something good to look forward to. Hopefully, they just shut down the borders for Sudan, but they won't. U.S. waged years-long shadow war against Wagner mercenaries in Africa. Although I hear it's Wagner, it's actually Wagner. I don't know. How do the Russians pronounce that? Wagner. U.S. Special Forces and intelligence are running a proxy war aimed at disrupting Russia's Wagner Group mercenaries in the Middle East and North Africa, recently unveiled Pentagon leak show. I did not hear about this. The Biden administration has long expressed concern over Wagner's role, not just in Ukraine, but where it has been spearheading efforts to gain Russian victory over Bakhmut, but especially its expanding presence in Africa as well. Honestly, why do we care about Africa? I have no idea, but for some reason, they're really concerned about Africa. The Shadow War appears to have been going on for years, even before the Ukraine war, with the classified documents which first showed up on Discord for confirming the US military is actively targeting Wagner fighters in special operations. Oh, secret operations. Same thing. The Washington Post is the first to highlight the US intelligence related to Wagner. The reports the following one document in the trove lists nearly a dozen kinetic and other options that could be pursued as part of coordinated U.S. and allied disruption efforts. The files proposed providing targeting information to help Ukraine forces kill Wagner commanders and cite other allies' willingness to take similar lethal measures against Wagner nodes in Africa. So they're not just attacking them in Ukraine, they're attacking them wherever they happen to be. But the Post underscores these operations have done little to degrade Wagner's presence and operations. Interestingly, there's even mention of a major incident in Libya. It remains unclear whether the Libya operation was accomplished using U.S. proxy forces on the ground, such as U.S. trained Libyan militias, or funny they like militias overseas. Or if it was a direct special forces or CIA attack, likely it was the former scenario given the extreme risk for US commandos in Libya. So, yeah, they've been going after these guys for a while now. Russian state media has meanwhile also taken note of the story, with RT writing this week that a second leaks-based story published by the Post on Monday cites a document alleging that Ukraine's military intelligence service, the GUR, and its head, Kryly Budanov, planned an attack on Wagner officers in Mali. Russia is alleging this shows a deliberate campaign to assassinate Wagner PMC commanders. Well, yeah, that would be the entire purpose of that. The U.S. sees Wagner in Africa as part of a broader effort to expand Russia's influence on the continent. Wagner has long been active inside Syria following President Assad inviting Russian allied forces into the conflict in 2015. Lately, the West has even blamed the unfolding Sudanese crisis on Russia and its mercenaries. Yeah, Sudan, that's a stable country. Let's blame somebody else. We've always tinkered around in Sudan. In the past, I have known people from Sudan, and it's just not a good situation over in that country. So when stuff like that erupts, I'm not surprised. So yeah, that was the three stories I had for today. And as for the question, can a woke military win wars? Absolutely not. Not unless they're like throwing pixie dust and hitting soldiers with high heels. I don't understand the whole woke agenda in the military. Mark Milley needs to have his hind end fired. The sooner the better. And I don't know, have some men with actual balls take over and get things back to where it used to be, where we could actually win a war. But unfortunately, the people who actually do those operations, the ones who are willing to go to the front lines, the ones who have a desire to defend this country, oh no, you voted for the wrong party. Time for you to go. Yeah, that's I don't know. I would consider the actions that the military has taken since 2021, when they cleaned house and got rid of certain people that they didn't like in the military. I think that might fall in as treason, because you are making our military less effective, leaving us more vulnerable to an enemy attack. causing the deaths of more people who you allow to be in the military, even though they're not fully functional. So, how that's not treason, I don't know. But yeah, you're not doing anybody any good, and you're ruining people's careers. You're making us less safe. I don't know how else to look at it other than treasonous. Line them up, seriously, and get things back where it should be. Anyways, that's about it for me today. Hope everyone is doing well, and keep on typing.